with great pleasure, I would like to introduce you to Bilal Shaikh. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, man. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Okay, Bilal.
Yeah.
So it's anybody who takes a first look at you knows that you have such an enviable and aesthetic physique.
Okay.
So what is it that you've done to get this physique? Because I know from a fact, you've told me this, that you were not always like this. You were a skinny little kid.
Yeah.
So from going from a skinny little kid to where you are today, how did you do it?
See, to be honest, it all started out with an insecurity. It wasn't that I was interested in working out or something like that. Yeah, because I was very skinny. I used to be made fun of, and I feel a lot of young guys and girls too start out because of an insecurity. So yeah, when I completed my 10th, or roughly, if I remember correctly, I was in 10th. During that time, I started working out at home, and then slowly, eventually, it then turned. My father got me a gym membership, and then started working out there, and then yeah, it just carried on from there.
So what does your workout regimen or schedule look like?
So my workout regime recently, what I do for the past few months, what I'm doing is I'm trying to train full body or upper body, lower body splits. So because I need to get a lot of volume in. So yeah, apart from working out, I've been trying to eat a lot of food also, which has been a real challenge recently. So yeah.
How do you train your clients? Like, is it according to the body type that they have, endomorph, mesomorph, or is it
Endomorph.
specific to what they want? Or do you have a particular philosophy or a training regimen that you believe that everyone should stick to a little bit, irrespective of what their goals are or where they're starting from?
If I'm training my clients, I try to stick to a routine which will give them the required results, and also which will keep them entertained. That is one of the main things I try to focus on. Why? Because those clients are paying me money. A lot of clients which I have don't actually like working out, so I have this responsibility to make it more fun for them. I need to show them results also, but yeah, it has to be a balance of entertainment and also a good workout regime. And
I think that ties in with the concept of flow, right? Remember we were discussing the other day that it's in order for you to achieve a flow state of mind in whatever you're doing, it has to be just enough difficulty that you're learning something new, but not so boring that you've switched off. So I think a lot of trainers
really
don't
plays
do that.
into that.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, I do work on it. I have to schedule it in a way that it is not too difficult, because what happens is, especially during legs, what people tend to do is they develop this anxiety always कि अरे legs आ गया, oh shit. So I have to be very careful, especially because in almost 80 to 90% clients which I have want to lose fat, and for that I need to make sure that they're training legs, because that is how you burn a lot of your calories. That is a big portion, because that's half your body. So I try to make sure I make legs workout fun, and I don't go too heavy, or I don't scare them off in the beginning, because I try to go very slow. Sometimes I make it easier than they could, if you're getting it. Because why? At the end of the workout, they are like, I want to do more. But I'm like, no, next time.
So you're not draining them out.
Yeah. So next time they are eager कि next time मैं एक set थोड़ा सा कुछ ज़्यादा कर लूँगा वैसे. So
you're playing with the mental and the psychological state.
You have to.
Honestly, that's way more important than just the physical.
Yeah.
Because what I've seen with most trainers is go hard or go home and train till failure, and train even when you're sore. I don't think that philosophy works well. Not because your body can't take it, it's because your mind can't take it. And people who have such busy lives, where they're just trying to squeeze in a little bit of 1 or 2 hours, for them they just switch off their minds and come. It is the trainer's job to take care of all this, and that is what's unique about you. Another thing that I noticed is that most trainers have good physiques, but the way that you carry yourself, especially your energy inside and outside the gym, and your posture most importantly. So where have you, is this something that was always ingrained in you? Is this the way that you've been brought up, or how does it work? What is
as far as the posture goes, to be honest, I have had a terrible posture my entire childhood, because I was really a scared kid. I never had the confidence or anything. Okay? In the beginning, I used to look up to a lot of people, and there I saw that they had a good posture. They were standing up straight with the chin high, and I started to imitate it. But what happened was people were like, "Arey bhai, and I was very skinny, so it looked as if I'm trying to puff my chest. So they were like, what's happening, man? So they started making fun of me there also. But what I did was, Conor McGregor has been a huge help. Like I told you before, I used to look at him, the way he's walking, the way he's carrying himself, and I was like, wow, man, what a confident guy. And then there I started. Eventually what happens is, if your body is weak, if your muscles aren't strong enough, your supporting muscles, once you start sitting up straight, standing up tall, your muscles start paining. Small areas start to ache because they aren't strong enough to hold the posture. So it was a bit difficult at first, and then automatically it became second nature. Also, there's something called as power posing. You can trick your mind into thinking that you're confident than you actually are. So that also played a part. So I used to try and be, I used to power poses. I used to do, look up, chin up, smile, so yeah.
So where have you, I'm sure you've picked this up from somewhere on the internet or on YouTube or from some books, right? And I also know that you're an avid reader. So what are you reading nowadays?
Recently I've been reading a book called The Game, which you have recommended to me. So yeah, it's a book about how to deal with people, I would say.
It's not exactly about how to deal with people, but okay, let's leave it at that. Yeah. Any other book that I would or what I would like to ask you is there anything else that you've read so far that you would say is in your top 3 or like top 5 or something that's really changed your perspective or something that you still keep going back to?
12 Rules for Life has to be one. Like I told you before, I'm a huge fan of John Peterson. I'm not a fan, a huge follower of him, a follower. And Animal Farm has been a good book which I've read. Catch in the Rye, for some reason, I love that book.
What do you like about Jordan Peterson and his philosophy so much? So I've personally read 12 Rules for Life also, and I think it's a great book. It's a good book even for someone who is beginning on that journey of self-development and who wants to read a little bit of philosophy. But at the same time, even for people who are well versed with philosophy, I think it's a good refresher. But personally, what are your key takeaways, or what do you like the most from Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life?
To be honest, the reason I like John Peterson, because the way he puts together things like philosophy, backing it up with science, a lot of history, and a lot of things he has learned in his clinical practice, and just bringing it all down together, especially his lectures. If you watch his lectures, like 2 to 3 hours lectures, the way he goes around, the way he takes us, it's like almost a journey, it's like an adventure. Yeah,
he's a very good orator. It's fun.
He speaks really well.
And I think what you're trying to convey is that he has a very holistic approach. It's not that just when he's talking about psychology, he's only talking about psychology. He'll talk about psychology, he'll back it up with history, he'll show you examples from different parts of life.
Religion also, these old scriptures he reads, and then he breaks it down. All these archetypical stories, like religious stories and all this. So yeah, he goes quite very deep into these stories and how he explains how we play out those characters, So yeah.
Getting back to working out,
yeah.
Since you've been in the industry for a while now, and you're someone who's very open-minded and is constantly reading and learning, what do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions or cliches related to the fitness industry, and not just the fitness industry when it comes to nutrition as well? Because you'll hear it's become very cliche. Protein is not even a big deal. Everybody knows that you go to a gym and people will tell you that protein powder lena hai and 1 gram and 1 kilo, whatever, all that nonsense. But according to you, in your intuition and experience, what are some of the biggest myths in your opinion regarding fitness and nutrition?
I mean, there's no shortage of, myths or no shortage of wrong information, because right now, especially because of the internet, it has the good side and the bad side. There are few people who actually make content which is actually very knowledgeable, which is very well researched and well versed. But on the other hand, you also find people who are not very well educated in this field, and they try to sell dreams. They sell things ki itne time mein itna ho jayega, and then things which are very, very pleasing when you hear them first, and which are very attractive. The truth is, You just have to start out basically. You have to work very hard. You have to eat well. To be honest, we all know it. How do you get fit? Even if you ask someone who doesn't know, he'll tell you almost the exact pathway, how it is done. But yeah,
so Bilal, what would you recommend? Like we discussed earlier. Again, would you recommend different things for different types of people and people who have different goals, or like what are some of the basic fundamentals? Like maybe your focus on posture. The thing is with bodybuilders and fitness trainers, I feel like they tend to overlook posture a lot. In fact, muscle imbalance is the biggest cause of poor posture. And I've noticed that these bodybuilders and fitness trainers often have rounded shoulders. They have the anterior pelvic tilt. They have very tight hamstrings, and it leads to a variety of problems. So like, your focus on posture, maybe not lifting as heavy as you could be, more focus on repetition. So what is like, if I could sum it up, what is Bilal Shaikh's personal philosophy or fundamentals to getting fit?
See, I would say that the most important thing is being functional. Okay? Bodybuilding is a very small niche, to be honest. Okay? The fitness industry is a huge spectrum. Fitness is a huge spectrum. Strength, mobility, flexibility, endurance, coordination, balance, a lot of different things we have to cover in our workouts. So a lot of people, the most people attracted to is bodybuilding. Why? Because that's very visual, and that is what most people think, body ban jayega mera, I'm going to college. All these young people which attracts them. People who are looking for things like posture, mobility and all this are people who are usually a bit older, I feel like, because they notice that their back is hurting, they find problem in their bodies, whenever they are doing just functional normal stuff. So yeah.
So what are your fundamentals? Like what would you recommend to people of all ages, or like something that must not be skipped over? Like you mentioned, mobility and functionality is one of them. So who are your majority clients? Like are they younger people? Are they older people? Are they looking to just stay fit? Are they looking to get a good physique? So like what kind of clients do you tend to?
Most of my clients are those clients who need to lose weight, and their goal is, almost everybody wants I need quick results as soon as possible. And they are like as soon as possible humko bas there's a date, this is, you can say that this is kind of an archetype. So they are like 3 months mein aa raha hai shadi, 3 months mein ye aa raha hai, and then I want it as soon as possible. And they'll refer me one physique ki aisa body chahiye, and which is like so it's almost a joke. So yeah.
So how do you deal with these clients? What do you tell them?
I tell them, see, to be honest, I tell them very honestly ki I won't sell you your dreams. What it takes, it actually takes a lot of work and a lot of discipline on your part, not just in the gym, outside the gym also, because what you eat plays a major role, and how much rest you're getting as well. So I tell them ki if you really want this, I'm not the person, but yeah, I can suggest you some people who can alter whatever you want, alter your goals according to whatever you want. So yeah. So
but tell me, Bilal, are you happy? Like, is this what you had intended to do when you started out?
I am actually really happy, to be honest, because how can you not like this job or whatever I'm doing? It's like you're training people, you're making them fitter, and it is not just that people come to me to train. I have the way I keep my clients, okay, is not just by training them and not just by giving them results, but also connecting with them and bonding with them. There have been times when clients have come to me and they are like, sir, aaj kuch nahi, aaj bas baat karna hai. And then they just sit and they talk about their work, their family lives, a lot of things they share. So it is not just you don't just see them as a means for extracting money or income. They're people. So and that is what I'll tell you what the basic how a gym works. It is as if the trainer is a ATM card, and the people who come to the gym are ATM machines. So what happens is people are like just कि कैसा भी निकाल, कुछ भी बोल, बस पैसा निकाल ले, से पैसा निकाल ले. So I'm really honest with my clients. So I just tell them what the truth is. It might be harsh sometimes, and maybe I've hurt a lot of people also, but telling them कि भाई, this is not a genetics, this is not possible, because people have ambitions. I want this, I want that. So I try to be sensitive in my approach. But yeah, I tell I let them know the truth matlab somehow. So yeah.
What are your personal goals? I mean, looking at you, you already have a physique that most people would be like, "Bhai, humko aisi body chahiye." But you know, like, are you okay? Are you happy with being functional with this much amount of mass, or you still feel like, you know, there's something else that you want to achieve?
It never ends, to be honest. For most people, it never ends. Same goes with knowledge. So no matter if you achieve, it's a good thing actually. I don't know if the people I'm talking about right now are very highly ambitious. I don't know, because you reach one. It is not the attaining of the goal which makes you happy. It's the process, right? So you love the process, but when you get it, matlab always I've seen you're not satisfied. You want abhi, what next now? Now what next? What's the next destination I'll go now? वैसे. So I am functional, but yeah, in my entire life I've never been happy whenever I've got. I'm like, और चाहिए, अरे यार ये फिर से कम. And because you don't see the progress, right? When you're thinking about the progress you wanna make, you are like, कि see, I'm 65 kgs now. I want to be 75 kgs, but the 75 kg doesn't happen in one day. So it happens like over a course of 1 year. Okay, for example. So now 1 year में, because you've seen yourself every single day, so you can't see the progress itna, to be honest, right? You can't see the progress because you're seeing yourself every day. But if someone else sees you and like so,
and they say, I've seen you after so long, what have you been up to? This is great. Right.
So matlab they see the actual progress, but you don't see the progress. So even though my 65 75 ho gaya, but for me it is as if I was matlab not too much progress, and it was gradual build up, right? You get my point?
Yeah.
So वैसे.
So you mentioned Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
And you mentioned how he played an important role in inspiring you to become the best possible version of yourself. Not only just his posture and the way he carried himself, but you know, he's become such a big superstar and icon, and he's got UFC to another level. Is there anybody else, not just in the fitness industry, but just generally, that you find very inspiring, or someone that you look up to?
I've had a lot of people I look up to, man. A lot of people. So
let's start with the fitness industry. Like in the fitness industry, or even athletes or sports people, who are some of the people that you really look up to?
It started out with Mark Fit.
Okay, I don't know who he is, so you need to tell me.
Mark Fit, he's a Canadian. Okay, he's French. Okay, but he lives in Canada, Montreal, and he's someone I'll highly recommend if you wanna. Obviously, genetically blessed. But yeah, if you wanna attain a physique and naturally, he's a good person to follow. And then I started out with him. I used to watch a lot of his videos, and then it was more on the motivation side during that time, and that really matlab pushed me to I used to follow every single thing, the way he's the clothes he's wearing, and the type of workouts, the faces he used to make, वैसे. So I used to matlab imitate him a lot. So yeah, I've just imitated a lot of people, a lot of role models.
So there's Conor.
Yeah.
There's Mark Fit. Is there anybody else that comes to mind right now?
John Peterson, obviously. Neil deGrasse Tyson, the scientist, the astrophysicist.
Talking about faces reminds me that I think the biggest mistake that people make while working out is not focusing on the breath.
Yeah.
So you're not supposed to breathe from your mouth.
Yeah. Right?
Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
So is that something that you enforce, like when you're working, when you're training your clients, and then when you personally work out? Does breathing play a very important role?
Breathing obviously does play a very important role. There's something called as Valsam maneuver. You are aware of the fact?
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah. So I read a book recently in which they said that is not the right way to breathe.
Okay.
Because you are creating a lot of stress on your organs when you holding your breath, and you are creating a lot of pressure inside. So yeah, breathing obviously plays a huge part, and breathing through the mouth, not inhaling. As far as I know, inhaling, but exhaling, to be honest, I'm not quite familiar with the concept of not exhaling through your mouth and just using your nose to exhale. Because when you're doing a compound lifts, because you're already out of breath and there's only so much you can breathe from your nose, to be honest, right?
So you
especially if you're exhausted.
Yeah. So you recommend blowing out through your mouth, especially when the going gets tough, right? Because it makes the lift easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like generally, is there any breathing philosophy or technique?
Yeah, there's a technique called the Bhuteko Method. Okay, and in that usually what happens is when you're done with your sets, you sit, you relax, but you only breathe through your nose and you starve yourself of oxygen. you starve yourself. You try to breathe as little as possible. As if, matlab, if I keep a mic next to your nose, the mic shouldn't be able to pick up any sound. वैसे. So what it does, it lowers your resting heart rate. वैसे, it saturates your lungs with carbon dioxide, and then eventually over time you increase your cardiovascular capacity over time. So that is one thing I try to tell all my clients. So yeah.
So this is actually quite sorry to interrupt, but this sounds quite contradictory to what has been taught and told.
Yeah.
But when I think about it, it makes sense. It's like resistance training. You're trying to make your muscles stronger by by creating micro tears in your muscles. So by not breathing, instead of breathing a lot during the resting, you're saying that it actually increases their capacity to breathe better. Oh, okay. I've never heard that before.
I'll send you links if you want. You can put links also down.
So in your experience, is that something that you do and does it work?
Yeah. It has definitely worked for me. I've checked it. I've checked regularly my heart rate, my resting heart rate, and it has definitely worked for me, and a lot of my clients too. So and always whenever I'm training someone, I check the VO2 max. So max in ke volume uptake max in volume of oxygen uptake. So yeah, so it has worked for a lot of people. Yeah.
Getting back to Connor, what is it about him that that inspired you so much? Because the interactions that I've had with you, we've spoken about a lot of stuff. We've discussed anime. We'll get to that in a bit. We've discussed a lot of MMA and UFC. But one name that really keeps popping up is Connor. So why is that?
Why? Because he was everything I was not, and he was everything I wanted to be. So he was like the ideal for me. So a lot of things. He taught me how to dream, basically, because his very first interview is like, my name is Conor McGregor and I'll be the UFC lightweight champion. His very first video, so in front of the camera, and he was so bold and he was outrageous to actually say his dream out loud, and he was like, without a doubt, 2 to 3 times he tries to confirm कि I will be where I want to be. वैसे. So but I saw that video, and then whatever he has achieved in his entire life. So yeah.
Plus he's come from very humble beginnings. He was a plumber that was on welfare.
Yeah.
And then it was either fighting or like just staying broke his entire life,
and I think his temperament also has played a huge part. I don't want to be very naive about it कि he did it so I can also do it. It is not like that, to be honest. Through what I've seen and read, his temperament has played a huge part in his genetics also, in who he has become. Especially, for example, he's fast twitch. There are 2 types of fibers, fast and slow twitch, right? Yes. So he's fast twitch. The power he can generate, even his muscle bellies, where his insertions are, his anatomy, his kinetic chain, the way he can produce. Everybody can't. You can't do that.
Plus his
to be honest,
wingspan, the length of his hands. He's 5'9" and he has a 74 inch reach. Yeah,
is the same with me, to be honest. He's 75. 74 inch reach and 5'9". So we have the same height and reach. Yeah, but the power he's able to generate, it is all genetics, right? So
you think it's so I agree with you. Like there are genetics are a good start, but as you can see from his downfall now, it's not always genetics, because if you see Khabib versus Conor, Khabib beat him, and I feel like, do you think that Conor got lucky, or it's just that what would you say is the reason for his downfall?
I think it got to his head. It was a lot of people had told me earlier it will get to his head, the money and the fame and everything will get to his head, and it did. As far as Khabib goes, the fight was good. Conor, if you just look at the fight, Conor was very flat-footed. For some reason, he thought that. But I feel like he thought he's better. Even on his worst day, he can outperform Khabib. And if you look at the fight, I think it was the worst performance of Conor, and it was the best performance of Khabib.
True.
So
I wouldn't say best. I think his performance against Justin Gaethje, his last fight, was just phenomenal.
Okay.
Where he submitted him in the second round.
Before the Conor Khabib fight, Khabib fought
Ally Quinter, yes.
Yeah, and that was I didn't like that.
Yeah, he didn't submit him.
Yeah, it was a very bad performance.
Yeah.
So and Dustin Poirier is one man I really look up to. From his charities to the things he has able to done ये in the ring, in the inside the octagon,
Hmm.
and मतलब through hard work, through sheer hard work, he's risen and come to the top.
So from what I'm hearing, Bilal,
Yeah.
it seems to me that if you had started early,
Uh-huh.
and if we all know that India is not the perfect place for mixed martial
Yeah.
arts in general. We don't have
Yeah.
the knowledge, we don't have the infrastructure. We're light years behind
Mhm.
places like Brazil, USA.
Yeah.
Do you think you would have been an MMA fighter?
Definitely. I don't think, because I don't think I have the genetics or the temperament.
No, you
mainly.
just mentioned that you're 5'9" and you have a 74,
नहीं,
75
yeah,
reach
नहीं, yeah,
advantage. So
नहीं,
you have
that,
the genetics.
That is that, but I'm talking about the bone density too, and I don't know, because
But Bilal,
if
that's
I
all
would have
arbitrary,
actually,
right?
Huh?
That's all arbitrary. It's just, I
Um,
mean, if if everybody looked at genetics, then only the most gifted people would be
नहीं,
doing what they,
yeah.
So,
See, for me to actually pursue a career, if I think and I'm well at this, I first need to compete, and then if I see कि भाई I have fought 3 fights and I know my strong points, my weak points, so I don't have that basic necessary knowledge to make a decision like that. So you get my point?
yeah.
Yeah. So
So it's just a hobby, it's something that you're
Yeah.
into, but you
Yeah,
don't see
into it.
yourself getting into it
No,
anytime soon.
no.
So,
Another thing I like to it, fighting is it's a very dangerous sport. We are enjoying it, matlab you look at it and then matlab it gives you the chills and oh, what a fight वगैरह. But to be honest, it's really hard for the fighters. The payment which they get, if you look at what the UFC pays their fighters, it's really matlab
it's pennies.
It's not, yeah.
Because it's very expensive,
Yeah.
especially living in the States, just generally,
Mhm.
like rent, food, accommodation,
Mhm.
paying for your nutrition and the trainers
Mhm.
is the most expensive.
Mhm.
And even if you're making $50,000 and they
Mhm.
barely fight for what, 4 or 5 times a year, that is a
Mhm.
lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
2 to 3.
Yeah, 2 to 3.
Yeah.
That is nothing.
And if you get concussed, if you get a head injury, or if you get knocked
Exactly.
out, then you are suspended for like 3 months or something like this. So in a year, how many times will you fight? So it's a very,
Plus the lifespan of any athlete, especially MMA fighters, is so short.
yeah.
At least you're in a sport like football, you're under contract and you're still going to get paid even if you're not performing on a plane.
Mhm.
In UFC, there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
You don't perform, you don't get paid, you can't
yeah.
put food on the table.
Yeah.
Not only that, what do you do after the 10 prime peak years of your life?
Mhm.
For an MMA fighter who only knows fighting.
Mhm.
So I feel that shift, in spite of
Mhm.
UFC being all the good things that they
Mhm.
are and that they do, I feel
Mhm.
you're right. The fighters pay, especially that they're putting their lives on the line.
Mhm.
One blow at the back of the head, anything, one
Just recently, I saw that video.
cerebral, that guy who
Yeah.
got cerebral palsy, right?
Yeah.
Just one blow at the back of the head.
Yeah.
At that time, it seemed like nothing happened to him.
Nothing.
And then later on, he's in a wheelchair and he's
Yeah.
paralyzed for life.
It's a very ruthless sport, a ruthless business also. Like always, like Connor said, ki get in, get rich, ki get out.
Yeah,
That was
and
always
we're
his
not here
motto.
to take part, we're here to take over.
Yeah,
But I think
so-
his mindset, like you mentioned, played a very important factor.
Hmm.
I think he's mentally one of the strongest people in the sport, not
Yeah.
just in this sport, but just generally. And you know what they say about the law of attraction? Like some people just fake it, or some people say for the sake of saying it. I think he dreamt, slept, ate,
Yeah.
everything. Like I think it was just such
he
a
was
single-minded focus. For
obsessed.
that, yeah, it's good. But I think it's over now. Like you said, it's gotten to his head.
Yeah, but who knows? Anything can happen. We don't know. But the chances of him coming back to his prime is very rare. It's extremely low. And if you've seen UFC 205 Conor fighting Eddie Alvarez, that was, I think, his peak performance.
Yeah, it was a beautiful performance.
What a
the four piece
punch
combo, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Beautiful.
so,
It was
yeah.
like poetry.
Literally, it
Poetry.
was like a dance. Just if you cut out the trips, once he trips, if you cut out that and a few other parts, it is as if it was already pre-planned. And it was a dance, as if it was already choreographed, and everything was happening as if it was already in a plan. So I don't know. It was just a beautiful performance by him there.
Okay, so now we know that you love fighting, and
Yeah.
we know that you're really passionate about fitness and training.
Hmm.
But if Bilal Shaikh
Hmm.
was not a fitness trainer,
Huh.
who would he be, or who would you like to be? Is, you know, because life is a marathon, right? There's still so much time, not only for you but for me and everyone else, right? So do you have any other ambitions, you know, passions, you know, maybe some other things that you can do side by side?
If I wouldn't have been into fitness, I feel like I would have. I was never good at education in school also, but if I would have definitely gone to psychology, and even if not that, then I would have gone to music. So I play the drums and I really love drumming. So recently I've not been drumming as much as I want to because I don't get enough time. But yeah, so psychology or music. So
but I think you can still pursue something psychology related, right? And
yeah, I still think to this day that I should do my master's in English, an English major. So I still I'm 25 now. I'm wondering now that I should start studying.
Because there's no age limit.
Yeah.
And you don't have to focus on anybody else's timeline.
Yeah.
You know yourself, you know what circumstances have been, and you know, everybody's life is not the same and it doesn't have to be. So what does the best possible version of Bilal Shaikh look like? Like you mentioned, he's someone who has enough time for drumming. He's someone who wants to pursue psychology.
A lot of things, man. A lot of things. It's like 24 hours isn't enough. So it's like, so I want to pursue psychology, fitness related stuff, drumming, music. I want to do a lot of things which I have, like skydiving. A lot of.
Do you have a bucket list?
Yeah, I have.
So what would you say are like the top 5 or top 10 things in your bucket list, just at the top of your head?
Dancing. I want to dance. I want to learn dancing. Why? Because I've met very few people who are, you know, who dance and who are very shy. You know, very they don't open up. A lot of people I know a lot of dancers, and all of them are they have so much energy. They I don't know.
The way they carry themselves, they're very extroverted, very confident.
Yeah.
Because there's no stage fright, and they've been on stage so many times.
There's something in moving your body in front of people, which I don't know, it just helps you, know.
So you feel like
open up.
You feel like once you start dancing, it'll help you shed your inhibitions.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it?
and also your movements. You are free then, the way you move.
It's like a flow, you know. It's like there's a pattern, but it's not a fixed pattern. Again, it ties in with the idea of flow, where you know you're following a set of rules, but there's so much freedom within those set of rules. What else apart from dancing? Like you mentioned skydiving. So where would you?
Skydiving, I want to try at least once.
Huh.
I don't want
to. Are you afraid?
I don't. Yeah, obviously, you have to be afraid.
No, it's not necessary to be afraid. Like I have a friend who's in Dubai right now, and he tried skydiving for the first time.
Okay.
And this was something that we were supposed to do together, but I've already done skydiving. Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done it twice, in fact.
Okay.
So he went indoor skydiving.
Okay.
And he's like, for the first 1 minute it was nice. After that it was boring. See
again. What is indoor skydiving?
So basically you enter this tube or a chamber kind of thing.
Okay.
And like there's air, like there's a vent that creates the similar experience of skydiving. It's not easy at all. In fact, it's like so they'll give you a class. There'll be like a theory class, and then the first time you have to go in with an instructor because you'll not be able to control your body. It looks very easy.
Yeah. You arch your back. I think it's really hard on your back if you don't control yourself.
So he said for the first 1 minute it was very nice, and then I got really bored because there's
when you start balancing yourself, once you know how to balance yourself.
Yeah, not only that.
Okay.
It's again like we were discussing that day, like the distinction between fear and danger.
Yeah.
Like a person who is afraid of heights will be afraid of even the 10th floor, and skydiving is like a nightmare for them. But for someone who's not afraid of heights, for them I think skydiving would not be a scary experience because they know that they have a parachute. So there is still an element of danger involved because the parachute can fail.
Yeah.
You still have the backup parachute, but still. So getting back to that, like, what are your fears? Do you have any?
Yeah, I have. Don't get me started on my fears, but I think it is a natural process. Man, you need to have fear because why? It is there to protect you, right? So it isn't having fear is bad. So
no, absolutely not afraid.
Yeah, but anxiety, I'm not afraid, but anxiety is also a form of fear, which is like the base of your being is a bit anxious. It's not calm. So if it's not calm, then it is whatever.
Then every interaction and every situation becomes a little.
Yeah, it depends though. But
So you are working on your anxiety, like we mentioned.
Yeah.
So I'd like to shout out the Andrew Huberman podcast.
Yeah.
Incredible podcast,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
he talks about everything. He talks about blood sugar levels, anxiety, dopamine, hormones, everything that you can possibly think about. So, so it's a multiple part question that I would like to ask you. What are some of the things that you've taken from his podcast and implemented in his life that have worked well for you, especially when it comes to managing your anxiety? And just generally, what are some of the key takeaways that you've taken from his podcast in general? No, the reason why I'm asking you to elaborate is because not a lot of people know what you're talking about, and it's something that can be easily implemented, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So the two things I do for anxiety, okay, to keep it at a bare minimum, is number one, waking up at the same time every single day. Okay. What it does, it stabilizes your circadian rhythms, okay? And I've really noticed a huge progress. And not just waking up at the same time, having a fat and protein heavy rich breakfast, and it is related to your insulin levels, and that has also really helped me. So if I would have ranked my anxiety levels previously to about 7 or 8, now I rank it to about 1 or 2 and 3 on bad days. So that has really helped. So for anyone who's suffering from anxiety or everything, try it out.
So what do you think is the cause for anxiety? So it has been speculated that, of course, mental health is a very real thing. In fact, anxiety is real. But it can, like you mentioned, it can be managed and improved a lot just by making certain changes. Like, for instance, you said waking up at the same time, having a protein-rich breakfast. Some scientists recommend getting 10 minutes of sunlight every day in the morning and in the evening. Okay, that also helps. Another thing is cold showers. Even Andrew Huberman mentions it a lot.
Showers, yeah.
They're very good for immunity, building strength. They're also good from a psychological perspective, because once you start the day with the cold shower, it's like everything else seems easy. So what are some of the other things that you would recommend or that you've heard that you would like to try, for not just for anxiety but just generally for everyday living, you know?
Exposure therapy, I would say.
What is exposure therapy?
You basically go out and confront the things which you fear.
Okay, yeah. You seek out what fears you the most, because that's where you're going to grow.
Yeah. So I think that is how you address the root cause. So even despite of the fear, you can do certain things to keep it at a minimum, but the only way is to realize that it is not safe. One thing that has really helped me to understand that it is not safe. For some reason, I thought I had the idea that it is safe, and being adventurous and doing all these things is kind of खुद से making it more difficult, or खुद से making it risky. But the natural state is not safe. So, and if you don't go out and face the things which you fear, then you don't grow. And if you're not growing, it is as better as if you're not going up, then you're going down. You get my point? Or no?
The reason why I'm a little paused or zoned out right now is because you keep saying you have anxiety and you're self-conscious. But you have these moments, these sparks where you could be a motivational speaker.
Okay.
Yeah, I think at that point in time you reached your flow state. So it's just a matter of perspective, Bilal.
It's perspective, man. Is conscious. The moment I'm not conscious, then I become. I have a lot to say actually, but I'm not saying. I'm not even saying half the shit. इतना सारा बोलने के लिए, but I'm just
again
jumbled up.
Your mind is cashing checks that your mouth cannot. It's like too many thoughts, too much going on in your head at the same time.
So for fear, that's what I'll say. Ki go out and face, which is something which I also struggle, but I try my best to go and face it, head on. And there's also one thing which John Peterson speaks about is the idea of a prey and predator. So the way you treat your anxiety or whatever you have is by facing the things you fear voluntarily. It is not that someone else is forcing you to face it. For example, if you have an interview, if you have a fear of interviews, it's not like somebody else is forcing you to go for the interview. That is even worse for you, because that is like you are a prey then. You're not a predator. You're a prey, like a rabbit. And on the other hand, if you voluntarily go, I know it is dangerous and I might make a fool of myself. I might make a fool out of myself. But I'm going, despite of that, I'm going voluntarily and I'll face whatever happens. and it whenever I've done it, I've noticed huge increments in my confidence. So
I think what you said is right.
yeah.
Because what happens is when put in stressful situations, humans release the stress hormone known as cortisol.
Yeah.
And coupled with adrenaline over a long period of time, it can do a lot of damage, not just physically, like it makes your heart weaker, it puts a lot of strain on you generally, but also mentally.
It makes you older.
Yeah. So stress is, I think what you said is very eye-opening.
There's another thing, there are new genes that turn on in your brain. If you face the things which you don't want to face, and if you put yourself in uncomfortable positions, there are new
neurons.
genes.
Yeah. The neurons make connections that have not been connected before.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
So that's also one thing. That is also one thing.
Okay. So this is a question that I ask almost everyone that I meet.
Okay.
And I'm very curious to know your answer. And this is not something that I asked you when we met before, because I wanted to save it for now. If given all the money in the world, or if I could give you a choice, or if I could create a hypothetical world, Bilal, no limits. You can literally control every aspect of life, and you have all the money in the world. What would Bilal's ideal world, life and day look like? Like right from which city, which country would you stay in? Would you stay with your parents? What kind of house you would have? What would your daily schedule look like? Everything.
I don't think कि happiness, ठीक है, for me is something which I chase. That's how I'll put it. So if you're telling me कि if I have that utopia vision or whatever, the perfect life वगैरह, and then I'll create something for myself, so I might do something things which I find more meaningful, but not which makes me happy. So it isn't like I'll have a big bada ghar and then jets and all that. So I feel कि if there are a bit of problems in this world which you cannot take away completely, it gives some meaning for people like me to put in some effort to make other people's lives better. And if other people's lives are already better, then all you chase is impulsive pleasures. And then
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you're saying that even if you were given all the money in the world, and if you had the power to create whatever you want, if you were king, you would not chase sense gratification, and you would not chase instant gratification, is what you're saying, because having so much for one person and just for the sake of pleasure, momentary, which is everything in this life is momentary, does not make sense. You would rather use the resources and the time to reduce suffering and create a better world. So okay, what does your daily life look like right now? Like, what does your daily routine look like right now?
I work almost the entire day, like roughly 15 to 16 hours a day. I work since morning till night. I work. And then on Sundays, whenever I get free, I try to read, or sometimes I try to go out with friends or something. So I don't have a social life. I just work and study. I'm just in that cocoon since a lot of years. So
that's what I'm asking you. Given, let's say if given the choice, if you could change this, what would you change about this daily routine or schedule that you have? What are some of the first things that you would do? What are some of the top things that you would do? Like, maybe would you work less? Would you devote more time to studying and drumming?
It would work. I won't say I would work less, because like I told you, I'm trying to make people's lives better. So obviously I love my work. But
so would you call yourself a workaholic?
Yeah, and like I told you before, so 24 hours in a day isn't enough. So I would work, but if 24 hours is ज़्यादा है, then I will put that time in for my drumming and studying वगैरह. So, but I won't work less. I don't think so.
So you're saying that very little would change in your life.
Yeah.
Like, you would not move to another city, another country.
Obviously, that would be good. To experience, not for happiness, but to experience, to meet new people, to see new cultures, to become wiser. So if from that point of view, yeah, I would like to then travel to a lot of places then and learn, educate myself, almost educating.
So I think you're someone who really comes across as a person who's interested in learning, not for the sake of reaching a goal, but for learning itself, you know. Like you mentioned, the journey is more important than reaching the destination. So there's no goal that you have in mind. You just want to keep learning as much as you can, right?
Yeah, because see, matlab I can have a goal, I can make something up in my mind and then I can follow it, which is a good thing. But life is so unpredictable, anything can happen, matlab. So the best I can do, my instincts are like, just matlab prepare yourself with everything you can, with the best weapons possible for you, for the people around you, and also for the matlab young people coming up, so that you can pass on the knowledge for them. So yeah.
So you mentioned that you would try to make this world a better place. So would you still be training people? Like, do you think physical training is very important in trying to make the world a better place, or would you keep doing this and pursue something else? Also, when you spoke about, you know, making this world a better place, what do you think your view of an ideal world looks like? Like, would it be somewhere where there are no borders, there are no wars, there's no hierarchies? Like, you know, is it like a communist system?
This what you just told me about having an ideal world. I'd written this before I had this thought. Okay, कि what if you were given the choice and you are God, and you are given this choice कि make a world, and I was really matlab doubting it कि have I been matlab have I been able to make a place better than we actually live in, despite of all the suffering. I don't know if I would have been able to make something which is even I have the basic knowledge now कि हाँ to the dual boy girl, you know, bad good, true false, just take everything away, zero knowledge, and you are told to create something. What will you create?
Right.
So
would you still do you still consider pursue the fitness journey, or would it be still a part of your life where you're helping clients, you know, becoming a best possible?
I'll be happy if I enter into new arenas and teach people there. But this is the field which I have worked on, right? And I have a lot of experience here. So even if I want to, I can't switch to other fields because I don't have the proper education for that. So I stick to this field and try to help as many people. And also, your mind and body tend to get together. So if you're physically getting fit, you do get happier overall. The endorphins release, right? Your brain does release more serotonin. So yeah.
So getting back to what you said, that in your free time, the one Sunday that you have, you just try and meet people or read something. But I also know, and this is something that I share with you, you're a very big fan of anime. Okay. A lot of people are under the misconception and under the false impression that anime is for children and it's cartoon and it's useless. But we both know that probably some of the best shows that we watched are anime.
Yeah.
So what is the most recent thing that you watched?
Attack on Titan, I've just been a fan of that show. I just love it. So
so you've read the manga as well, right? Attack on Titan.
I finished the manga as well.
I haven't read the manga yet, so no spoilers.
I can spoil it for you the podcast if you want to. But
what are some of the other anime that you would recommend, or something that you remember that you really like?
Naruto was obviously a good one, a really good one, and Naruto I would say. But Attack on Titan has gripped me for some reason. I don't know. Recently I've watched this also, My Hero Academia, and.
But what is it about Attack? Let's say if I didn't know anything about anime, and I didn't like anime. Like I had this mental block in my head, like a first bad impression that nahi anime nahi dekhna hai. How would you convince me to watch anime, specifically Attack on Titan? Like what is so special about Attack on Titan?
Number one, I cannot force someone to watch it. Okay? I can just influence them ki bhai, I just need a bit of your time. Just give me 20 minutes. One episode is only 20 minutes because normally the shows we watch are like 1 hour, 50 minutes, 45 minutes. I'm just like, you watch the first episode because the first episode is in itself is an episode which gets you hooked. So that is the best I can do. I'm just like, please, for me, give me 20 minutes of your time for something which is for your entertainment. So you're gonna get something out of it. So give me 20 minutes, and by the end of the show, by the end of the episode, if you don't like the episode, then you don't watch it further. I say.
So you wouldn't want to spoil anything. You wouldn't want to tell them that this is what the Attack on Titan world is about and this is why you should watch it. Just like watch one episode, अच्छा लगा तो देखो, वरना no one's forcing you to watch it. Okay, makes sense, fair enough. Now, again, another thing that I've been really waiting to discuss with you, only on the podcast that I didn't discuss with you much when we met, is MMA in general, you know, the UFC.
Yeah.
So UFC 269 is coming up, UFC 270 is coming up. Like, what would you say are some of your most memorable moments from the MMA world or UFC in general that you watched? Like we know that McGregor, Alvarez that you mentioned, UFC 205 is like the 4-piece combo is something that's ingrained in your memory and in your head. But what are some of the, you know, like most notable or something that you remember?
The Anderson Silva era. UFC 189 when Conor fought Chad Mendes and got his first interim title.
The featherweight title.
Featherweight. That was a beautiful journey, and a lot of great fights, man. I don't remember now. Nothing is coming to my mind right now, but a lot of great fights. So Michael Bisping and Anderson Silva ka the rivalry, Dan Henderson and Michael Bisping ka rivalry, Valentina Shevchenko. She's also such a great fighter. On the spot nahi aa raha.
So if I had to ask you to pick top 10 is to 2 less, but chalo, let's say top 10, top 15, top 20 your favorite fighters of all time, who would they be and why?
Top 20. But I'll give you top 5. I'll tell you. Okay? Top 5. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Valentina Shevchenko, Conor McGregor, Michael Bisping, Anderson Silva,
Dustin
Poirier, yeah.
Is Khabib also in there?
Khabib is a good human being, but his grappling is no doubt.
Listen, grappling, no doubt. Like it's like you know it's coming, but you can't stop it. And his cardio, his pressure, his technique, the way he takes you into deep waters and drowns you. And Khabib, what I love about him is like I feel like he's the most gangster person in the UFC apart from Francis Ngannou. For one particular reason, he doesn't talk trash. He's like, I'll talk to you when we're inside the cage, and when he's on top of you, and he does.
Michael, who was he speaking to? Like Dana.
Yeah, he was talking to what was that
Michael.
Guy's name? No, it was not a Michael.
Mike. It was Mike. Like something.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. He was talking to Dana and he's like, bro, give me my title. And then you're telling the guy, come on, you have to give up. You know I deserve this. And not just once, he does that with Conor. You know, the most famous line was, let's talk now. And
it's
Conor
only
was
business.
like, it's only business. So yeah. So what is it about martial arts that you know is something that really captures your imagination, your attention, something that draws you, something that inspires you? What is it about martial arts, out of all the things that we have in this world, that make it so special to you?
For me, what makes it so special is like there is no other sport which will push you to achieve your maximum potential. There's no other sport that can do it better than martial arts. The amount of, just imagine you preparing for a fight, and this is a physical fight. It is not something like you are playing like a football or like tennis.
It's not a sport.
Yeah, it is actually the other person is going to hurt you, and ruthlessly. It is not कि भाई लगेगा तो ये जब तक रेफरी रोकेगा नहीं, so anything can happen. ठीक है, the risk of injuring yourself. ठीक है. Then also imagine you telling your friends, and especially if the other guy is trash talking. We all have an ego, right? And the other guy is saying bad things to you or your family, and then you are like, I'll do something, I'll do this, and then the anticipatory anxiety. The day is coming, the date is coming, and then on the day you are fighting, you are going into unknown territory. You don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen, even if you are a better fighter.
At that point in time, yes,
anything can happen. Yes. He just moved. Anything can happen.
It could be a lucky shot.
Yeah,
anything. You could slip.
Yes,
yeah, you're right.
Anything can happen. And then if you enjoy yourself, the worst, if you submit, if you tap, if you get knocked out in front of your family, the people who
love you,
for the people who are going to fight. Just imagine he's a trash talk kiya, and then he said bad things about your family and stuff. And then you're going, and then in front of the people you like, and you're on the ground, and then you can't even control yourself. You can't you've been knocked out. You can't even balance yourself, and then you're seeing case the overall journey. And then after the loss, how do you deal with it? The overall, especially because it's physical, you're actually getting hurt. The other person actually hitting you. So it just that combat sports in general, not just martial arts, it takes it to another level, I feel like. And I don't think any other sport can give you that. So that danger, just the anxiety which you might develop as the fight gets closer, so it's just, I don't know.
So what would you say if are the most important attributes in a fighter? I'm talking about physical and mental both. So let's say top 5 physical, top 5 mental. Like, say, when I'm talking about physical, I'm asking you, like, what do you think is it jiu-jitsu, is it striking, is it ground and pound? And when mental, is it, like how stoic you are or how focused you are? Like
you said it. If you're talking about martial arts, so martial arts, the more arenas you conquer in the field of martial arts, the more different type of, the fighting styles you learn, the better it is for you, right? Physically, you need to have strong bones and all that, like I told you about in
the bone density.
Yeah, the bone density, and also how your technique and stuff. You talk about the mental aspect, being stoic, not being low in neuroticism, being low in neuroticism. So having less fear, and then being disagreeable also helps, because you're actually competing. You actually want to rip the other person apart. It's not like I'm gonna like punch you softly. You actually have to so, and having a lot of courage. Yeah, that's it.
So we've not known each other for very long at all.
Yeah.
But you're still someone who really got my attention.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned before, because not only did you carry yourself really well, your posture, you were very professional, the way you spoke, you spoke very calmly, very kind, very generous. But at the same time, your energy levels did not drop. Like you mentioned, you work from Monday to Saturday, and you work for at least 12 hours. It is not easy to maintain that kind of energy.
Yeah.
So did you always have this much energy? Like, what is the secret to maintaining these levels of energy to be able to give it to other people, because instantly I noticed a difference when I used to work out with you, or when anybody else used to work out with you. It's a different energy because I can feel it. So what is the secret? Like, what do you do to keep these energy levels up?
Working out might have definitely played a big part in it. You're working out since so many years. Whenever you've seen me work, despite of the high energy you're talking about, I don't sleep well ever. So if I'm well rested, obviously it plays a part, but I don't sleep well on a regular basis. So that might not play a part, I think. Exercise might be playing a huge part. And what's more important for me is कि if I'm coming to this gym, right, I look at working, like I told you, I work a lot, and I look at working from a different angle. It is like people are paying me, okay? Even those people who are not paying me, they come to the gym and they have their own stories, They're very unique stories each and every person has, and sometimes they share it with me, and I think of it as my responsibility. Even on the days I'm not feeling well, okay, I'm feeling low, I still try to put on a face in which I try to I try to give everyone an experience, because I don't know why pata nahi, but I feel this deep urge. It is my responsibility, because it is my field, they have come to my field, so to give them the best knowledge possible and the best advice, and
and this so another thing, and you mentioned it yourself, so I used to go to the same, like, we've trained at the same gym, but I was not your client in particular, and I still used to come to you for like advice, and you like my form, and you not once did you refuse me or say go ask somebody else. And I remember there's so many times when you've taken my session for abs. So I think that's quite commendable, because like you said, like the way the trend in the industry is now is that gym, the fitness trainers are like ATMs, and the people, they look at the people as ATM machines. That's a great analogy, by the way. I'm going to use it again and again. And that attitude is very different when it comes to you, because you had no reason. You could have easily said no, I don't have time, or you could have made an excuse. But I have not seen you refuse anybody that comes to you, irrespective of whether they're paying you, they're not paying you. So do you think like it is your duty, your responsibility to give back?
My view is basically ki I want to play my part in my existence. I just want to play matlab whatever my part is, maybe a huge or a small part, to matlab alleviate people's suffering, in whatever way I can. So in the field which I have a lot of experience in already, and in which I'm already naturally good at. So I'm not working there in a sense कि I'm gonna earn money and then कि ये मैं client बनेगा ऐसे. My main objective is to make sure कि I'm gonna help as many people as I can, and not for them actually. It is for me to find at least some kind of meaning in my life. You get my point?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
matlab, at least I helped. At least today when I woke up, I matlab did something. I matlab gave some. Matlab I just helped someone else. So that is where I find I don't
So now finally, one of the most important questions. Since you're such an inspiring individual and you're already doing so much with your life, and I hope you achieve all the success and get whatever you desire in life, where do you see yourself in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whenever? Or where would you like to see yourself? Like, what are your future ambitions, plans, goals? And mind you, they can change. People change. So they might change after 1 year. I might meet you after 2 years and you might be doing something completely different. But at this point in time, where do you see yourself in the future, in the near and the far future? And where do you want to see yourself?
I want to, number one, I want to stay in the fitness industry. Okay? Number two, I want to pursue my education more. Number three, I wanna write some books. Then that one of the many reasons I'm educating also is because I can get fluent with my words, and book just because the book will live longer than I can. So matlab वैसे there are other things too. Matlab not just the books, videos can also do. I want to start a YouTube channel also. Since a very long time I've been thinking about it, but I can't just but speaking to the camera is not my thing. I think so. I don't know.
Oh, I disagree with that.
क्या पता नहीं. So नहीं, why? Because matlab you got a lot of eyeballs there, and the message, I have a lot of things to say. First time speaking to the camera after 2 years, तो इसलिए मेरे को ये हो रहा है, but I have a lot of things to say, and then having a YouTube channel will help me push my message out, and I think that information can really help a lot of people, especially young kids, and there's nothing more matlab meaningful than helping young people, young kids who are starting out, have like ambition, full of energy, and then helping them on their journey. So
what would you say is the meaning of life?
Who knows? Just try to elevate suffering as much as you can. At least try not to be a burden. That's the best. At least try not to be a burden. If not, because some people do have the talent or the necessary skills, or they develop it, and even some people who don't develop it maybe might be because of the circumstances and stuff. But some people do, some people don't, and if you cannot, sometimes there are good reasons why you cannot. Maybe your life has been very difficult and you don't want to. At least don't be a burden. Don't do, if not doing good, at least don't do bad. So yeah. So I don't know what the meaning. Obviously, you cannot say what the meaning is, but the best course of action would be this. That is the most noble thing you can do.